we spend years and tens of thousands of dollars learning what we're going to do on the job, but there's so little focus integrated within the system. I'm saying this in quotations, whether that's the education system, the societal system, whatever it is, there's very little focus on actually how to find the job. Most people have never pursued coaching, right? And so sometimes there's a bit of a fear or buyer's remorse after doing it, but the first time for anything is always going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. Job search isn't just about getting a job. It's about getting a job that will help you build a career, that will help you take care of your family, live your dream lifestyle. That's what it is. Like,
all right, welcome back to this episode of the How to Get a Job podcast. We're excited. Today's episode is going to be great. I actually have an amazing guest, and we're going to be talking about why you should consider having a career coach. And I know that we bring in different career coaches throughout the episodes, but never really taking the time to talk about why we believe having a career coach will be probably one of the best investments that you make in your career. And to talk about this, I actually have a fellow career coach who has an amazing company and also has tons of career coaches working underneath them to talk about this. And I have Muni, and he is the founder of Jobs and Offers, and he's also a career coach. Muni, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Daniel, thank you, man. So good to be here. I love how you start off with the why. Like it's I think there's a lot about strategy, about job search and career coaches, but we don't always talk about, what drives us. But so excited to dive into that, man, and just really get to be here.
Yeah, no, man, I'm happy that you're here because we talk and we can talk business all day long. And but what I'm excited about is this particular topic that we're going to dive into, because look, for all of you who are listening to this, let me pitch something to you, right? What percentage of people, when you're buying a house, use a real estate agent? Odds are, if you've ever bought a house, you've used a real estate agent. So I would say like 90+%. What percent of people, when they're planning for retirement, use a financial advisor? Odds are, if you have already started your career and you are planning for retirement, and aside from doing your 401k with your job, you probably have a financial advisor that's helping you with like life insurance or investing a little bit more money so that you can plan and secure your future for your family. But where you buy a house or the size of the house all depends on your career. Your retirement depends on your career. And what percentage of you have ever used a career coach to find a job? And I bet it's completely flipped, and less than 10% of people actually use a career coach to find a job. And I think that's where the opportunity comes. This is why I don't see other career coaches as competitors. And I think there's an opportunity for us to collaborate, because I believe a good career coach is worth their weight in gold, and they can help you not only get a job, but get a better job and get paid what you deserve, because a good career coach has a really good view of what the market is willing to pay for your skill sets and can help be your advisor in this situation. So that's why I think, if you're listening to this, you should consider a career coach. And the rest of the episode, I hope that we can put a really good case out there for you to consider. And I'm not saying you need to hire me. By the way, if you're not an international STEM student, you should not hire me. And I just think it's about finding the right career coach. And the question shouldn't be, should I use a career coach? The question should be, which career coach should I use? So Muni, tell me a little bit about yourself, and also why did you become a career coach, and your thoughts on anything that I just said as well.
100%, man. No, and I love a good story. For me, Daniel, and I feel like a lot of people could resonate with my story. Back in university, and I was fortunate to be in a university where it was known for internships being integrated into the study pattern. But here's the thing. I struggled to even land internships, right? Like I never, at the beginning, I never thought of myself as somebody special. I did not think I would have an amazing career, because I'm like, if I can't even land internships in university while I'm seeing my friends landing internships at Microsoft, Google, Facebook, let's call it FANG, like, they're the most famous.
Yeah.
I would see them landing jobs. I couldn't even land, I barely scraped by. Like I would probably land 2 interviews, get 1 offer. Right. And my friends were like landing 20 interviews, 10 offers. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And so after I graduated, I got so frustrated with the job search that I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I want to go and start a company and figure this stuff out. And I ended up starting a tech company within the recruitment field. So we were building recruitment tech. This was my 4th or 3rd company over the course of my career that I started. The other 2 didn't work. That company ended up not working. However, during that time where I was running this recruitment tech startup, I had the opportunity to engage with hundreds of recruiters, right? And so through things like customer discovery, I was able to interview them and understand, okay, well, how's your company hiring? What does the process look like? What do you look for in candidates? And the company evolved to start building tools that would interact and connect with ATS
Yeah.
platforms, Lever, Greenhouse, those types of platforms. And so by the time I left that startup, it just didn't work out, it fizzled out. I learned so much about how companies hire, how ATS work, how to navigate the job search, so that just before starting that startup, I couldn't land an internship. After that startup, I landed multiple offers in just 30 days flat, right? So I'm like, clearly something is now working because I've learned. And my career grew from there. One thing led to another, and I ended up leading a global talent acquisition team for one of Canada's fastest growing tech companies. And so, I scaled my team to 12 recruiters internationally, and then we scaled the company from 300 to 1,000 employees worldwide. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this as a reminder that how I went from a student that couldn't even land an internship to now being in a position where I'm scaling global companies. And so where the transition to career coaching came in was when, the pandemic hit back in 2020. All right. And, I was a recruiter at the time, gainfully employed. I was okay, but a lot of people weren't. And so being a recruiter on LinkedIn, a lot of people view us as like, hey, these are the people that can help. So I had a bunch of people reach out to me. Muni, I've lost my job. Muni, I'm looking for a new job, but it's, the pandemic, what do I do? And I'm like, hey, listen, relax. We got this. Let me help you out. And so I just started helping a few friends and family. And then that became friends of friends, friends of friends, friends of friends. I'm like, damn it, why did I do such a good job? Right? I was like, that's just the price you pay for that. And so that's where the idea of like, what, maybe I could coach people and make money from it. Because before I was just helping pro bono. And so from 2020 until 2022, I was just doing it on the side. It was a side hustle. Nothing really crazy. It was helping maybe about 10 job seekers a year, just not going full throttle. And then 2022 came, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I have enough data here to tell me that I can do this full time and scale this. And so since last year, I've been really scaling this. So to come back to your question, like, why am I even doing it? For me, the analogies you mentioned are spot on. Like, even when I talk with clients and prospective clients, I use the real estate analogy and even the personal trainer analogy.
Yeah.
Like when you go in to get fit, right? You work with a personal trainer. And so I find that does a really good job of encapsulating what we do. But the real motivation came from my frustration of we spend years and tens of thousands of dollars learning what we're going to do on the job, but there's so little focus integrated within the system. I'm saying this in quotations, whether that's the education system, the societal system, whatever it is, there's very little focus on actually how to find the job, right? How do you actually operationalize your job search towards success, right? We go to school and it's like, okay, great, go find your job. And then nobody tells you how to do it. And so, like you said, 90% of people kind of just run around like, with chickens with their heads cut off and just applying and hoping things work. And so for me, I was like, you know what, enough's enough. People need to have a better approach to how they build their careers because this is serious. Like, it's not, job search isn't just about getting a job. It's about getting a job that will help you build a career, that will help you take care of your family, live your dream lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, if I think about it, the type of work we do, Daniel, is like we help people build their dream lifestyles through job acquisition. So that's what drives me, man.
No, I love it. I love the story, man, and I love everything about it. And I think I want us to talk a little bit more about like, okay, like what makes a good career coach? What do you look for? What somebody should be looking for? Because like I actually think, well, first let's go a little bit deeper into why a career coach makes sense. And then we can talk about what you should look for in a career coach and what you should go away from and how to find a career coach. I think we can talk about that. So like, I'll kind of kick it to you first and say, okay, like, what do you think are the main reasons why someone should have a career coach? Like why is it worth paying someone to help me find a job when I can just find myself a job on LinkedIn?
Yeah. And that's a great question, Daniel. I'm going to start off by addressing a common myth or misconception out there where a lot of people think that career coaches or people who help people get jobs are selling snake oil, right? Because I'm sure you've come across this, like you're a scam, you're selling snake oil, stop taking advantage of people who are in an unfortunate situation. And that's really not what it is. Like when you look for any kind of mentor, it's so that you can learn from their lessons so you don't repeat those mistakes and you could actually end up better than them, right? So this is all career coaches do. I think I heard you chatting with on a podcast before where you were saying people don't pay us for information. If you want information, you Google it, you use ChatGPT, whatever, right? So nobody comes to a coach. You don't come to a career coach for new information. You come for implementation, right? So the reason you would want to pursue a career coach is if you want to know how to take your situation and all the components of your career and get the help to put it together in such a way that's going to lead you to your next role and just overall career success, right? This is why you would want to go for a coach. And I totally agree. When it comes to a coach, not everybody will be the right fit for you, right? Like while different coaches can offer help, you want to find a coach that understands your situation well and somebody that you personally vibe with. Like this is somebody that you're going to be chatting with and connecting with for the next several weeks or next several months. Are you okay with showing up on a call with this coach, every single week or every single month, right? So that personal vibe needs to be there, where it's like, you know what, there's a common or mutual likability, but then also having a coach that understands your specific scenario, right? So, for example, you guys focus on international STEM students, right? When they come to you guys, they be like, you know what, Daniel and his team understand me exactly. For me, for example, Mooney, I don't have this very deep experience in international STEM students or international STEM careers. So for me, that if somebody comes to me of that portfolio, I would most likely tell them I'm not your guy, right? We actually only accept 30% of the people that speak with us, like just to show you how much we care about that fit. So this is why I think people need a career coach. It helps you to. You don't need a career coach just because you're struggling. It can help you shortcut your way into building a better job search
Mm-hmm.
and as a byproduct, a better career.
Yeah, man, I would agree with everything you're saying. I want to add a couple of thoughts that I have. What I found, most job seekers, when they're looking for a job, either because they got let go, they quit, there was layoffs, or they're still working but they're miserable at their job, is that they're being very reactive instead of proactive about the job search. So, like, what I mean by reactive is like they're going and applying to every single job that they meet the minimum qualifications for, and they're just waiting for a company to finally invite them to interview. And so if you're applying to, I say, 1,000 places or 100 places a month, right? And you apply this for 3 months and you apply it to a total of 300 jobs. My question to you as a job seeker is, what percentage of those 300 jobs that you apply to are actually your right fit, right? And so if you are just waiting for an interview, what happens is that, let's say you get five companies message you for interview. What is natural as human behavior is you're then going to justify why that company is a good fit, right? Instead of doing the research and identifying that company first and only applying to the companies that you're a good fit for, that matches your career priorities, that helps you earn what you're earning, that's in the location that you want to, that's in the industry that you want to. You're being reactive and be like, oh my God, I just got a message from this company for an interview. And then you're Googling the company to get ready for the interview. And every time you're researching the company on their website, you're trying to justify why, oh yeah, they make solar power energy, so they're going to be good for the environment. I always wanted to be good for the environment. So you're playing, like, you're super reactive. Second is you don't know if you're going to get paid fairly or not because you just have one point of view, where a good career coach, because they have money clients and because they have a wider view of the industry, they can be like, hey, Mooney, you're being underpaid here. Or, hey, Mooney, you should negotiate. Or, hey, actually, this is a really good offer. You should take it. Or, hey, maybe you shouldn't leave your job. You just have a bad manager. It's not the whole company. Maybe let's switch managers, right? And so I think that's really, really important. You also had mentioned like the example of like a personal trainer. And so I think that that's so right. And also, like, just like, if you're looking to work with a personal trainer, you would use a different personal trainer if you're a mother who you just had children and you're trying to get back to shape. You probably would use a different personal trainer than if you were someone who wants to become a bodybuilder and is going after to become Mr. Olympus, right? Those are completely different than the other person who weighs 300 pounds and wants to lose 100 pounds, because different personal trainers have different niches, different specialties, right? You're probably better off working with somebody who was a mother, who was in your shoes, who got in shape. And if you're looking to be like a bodybuilder, you're probably better off working with somebody who was a bodybuilder and won in those competitions. And I think it's really important too, as a career coach, to find a career coach that has experience working with your situation. If you're an international STEM student, maybe Mooney is not the right person. I mean, he's in Canada, and in America is different. So maybe working with us at Opni might be better. But if you're not an international STEM student, I'm not the right coach. Mooney and his team might be a better situation. So I think that's why it's super important to understand what you're trying to accomplish and find the right coach for you.
I love that, man. I totally your analogies are so on point. Your analogies are so on point. Everybody has a bit of a different, like no two careers are the same. I always like
Yep.
to say it's like fingerprint. Like every career blueprint is a little bit different, right? You're your own person with your own skill sets, your own experiences, your own goals, your own pain, your own struggles. All of that makes a very unique situation. So on point, man. Yeah, find a coach that understands it.
How would you then suggest finding those coaches?
That's a great question, and I think with our industry, Daniel, it's building up to become more solidified, right? I think our the career coaching industry is still growing. It's not as solid as, like, let's say, you gave the example of real estate, right? You open the you open Google, you type in real estate agents near me, things will pop up. I think with coaches it's a little bit different, because I'd see two sides to an industry right now. On the one hand, you have some of those larger companies that provide more generic career coaching services that if you Google, you can find them. But then there's a lot of hidden gems, like our companies, for example, that people will come into contact with on LinkedIn. So I think a good place to start is to really get exposed to the environment of other of coaches, right? I don't, for me personally, I haven't seen clients finding coaches, at least the ones I work with, through Googling. Right, like I have a website, it's out there, but people, I don't, I haven't invested much in that, so that could be part of it. But nobody comes to me and says, "Oh, I found you through your website." So I think a great first step would be to go where career coaches are congregating. Right now, one of the biggest places is LinkedIn,
Yep.
and so part of the process, anyways, and this actually works really well because a lot of job seekers are starting to realize more and more the importance of LinkedIn and a personal brand as part of their job search strategies. So they're already there anyways. Something I highly start recommending is just use simple LinkedIn filtering and search tools. Just type in career coach, right? Type in certain, use LinkedIn's free filters that you can use even without a premium account to narrow down to certain locations. So let's say career coaches in North America, career coaches in America, career coaches in Chicago, right? Whatever. And then see who pops up, see whose content resonates with you, and then click follow. And then what I recommend is not to, for job seekers, not to jump and connect with a career coach right away, right? Follow, let's say for simple math, 10 career coaches that you come across that you really like their content, you resonate with it, and then just follow their content over the course of a couple of days or a couple of weeks and see whose content really resonates with you. Because the content a coach puts out is an extension of their beliefs, an extension of the way they operate.
Yep.
And that's going to give you a good idea of the type of person they are, the type of coach they are, and if the problems that they solve are the problems you have. And then from there, engage them, right? A lot, something I appreciate about the career coaching industry is that they're so open to connecting with people on LinkedIn, right? Shoot them a DM, send them a connection request with a note, that's personalized, saying, "Hey, Daniel, came across, Opni, and I'm an international STEM student, and I could really use your help getting a job." Boom. Somebody like you and your team is going to accept that request and say, "Great, what are you looking for? What are your challenges? Let's hop on a call and see if our program is a good fit," and then to move forward from there. And one last thing I'll recommend on this is I always encourage people to talk to multiple career coaches at the same time. Like when people come to me, one thing I'll often encourage them to do is, like, I know there's a good fit between us, but go and talk to a few other coaches just so you can feel like, hey, you know what? I'm definitely making the right decision. Because the worst thing is I don't want somebody to start working with me and then come across another career coach and they're like, "Oh man, that person really understands my struggles a bit better." So talk to a few career coaches before you make a decision. See which one you interact with and get along with personally and professionally. They understand your challenges, and then from there, make the commitment. That's really the big thing. Most people have never pursued coaching, right? And so sometimes there's a bit of a fear or buyer's remorse after doing it, but the first time for anything is always going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. But once you've done your due diligence, found somebody you connect with and understands your problems, you've seen their past success rate and their track record, just commit and go full throttle.
Yeah, no, some great advice. I think LinkedIn is also like a great platform to not only find coaches, but you can use what you said, the filters or hashtags, or even like LinkedIn has a feature where like people who provide services can put it out there. And so like I know you have, like, I'm looking at your profile, providing services, career development coaching. So like you do it that way. And to your point, I do think like once you find a career coach, I wouldn't just message them right away. To be honest, I would actually want to read some of their content. A lot of coaches do some sort of like lead magnet, so like give you some sort of resource, whether it's a webinar or a PDF or something. Really see if you can,
Or
if
those
it resonates.
masterminds.
Yeah, resonate, something that you can see it. I love their advice of talking to multiple career coaches, and look at, to me, like their website. Look at the references. Look at the testimonials. I think it's important for you to do your due diligence as well. Now, last thing I would ask you. So now that you said, okay, Muni, Daniel, I agree. I'm gonna look into a career coach. Let's talk about the difference between like having a career coach from the whole beginning to end versus bits and pieces where I hire a resume writer for a resume, I hire interview prep for interview prep, I hire someone for networking. What do you think are the pros and cons of going for someone that just does bits and pieces, or like what you said, like a concierge career coach, or someone that has a holistic program?
So I like looking into the words, right? Like I see career coaches that call themselves career coaches, and they offer bits and pieces of it, like more. I call that a la carte, where
A la
it's like,
carte,
hey,
yeah.
I'll do you a resume, yeah, or a LinkedIn review. I Again, this is they do great work, right? But I would not consider that career coaching, right? They're not coaching you on your career. They're writing you a resume. They're helping you optimize your profile. But the career coaches that I would consider, where the title of career coach makes sense and it aligns with the actions that they do, is the holistic transformation, start to
Yep.
finish, right? And my personal belief, after again, my team and I have been fortunate now to have helped close to 280 professionals now since 2020, is like it can be summed up in one quote: "How you do one thing is how you do everything." Right? And job search is no different. And what I find, and we get a lot of people that come to us that have used a la carte services that say it didn't work and I need help, right? And I always tell them it's not that it didn't work; it's just that you didn't optimize the other parts of your process to keep up with that. So if you fix your resume, but your LinkedIn brand is not on point, you're not actively engaging with companies and networking your way in, you're not preparing for interviews appropriately and knowing how to use star methods, or whatever other story method you have in mind. If you're improving certain things within a vacuum, you're not going to see an overall success, right? So I'm a big believer in optimizing every aspect of the job search, right? So it's like, decide where you want to go. So get very clear on your North Star. Optimize your resume, then optimize your LinkedIn brand to match your resume and your North Star. And then make sure that the way you interview and the experiences you share in the interview are in line with your personal brand and your resume. And then, knowing how to integrate people as part of your strategy. Like, these nitty gritty details don't come from a la carte services, right? So my recommendation in general is that, if I always recommend that, even if you're not in huge dire need, having a career coach on a holistic level at the beginning can be very, very useful in getting everything on the right track for you. And a la carte services can become useful later on once you have a much better idea of how the holistic job search works. Then you can know, okay, hey, what, everything's good. I just need more help with the resume. So then you can go for an a la carte service after.
Yeah.
But to do it the other way around, I find is a little bit challenging. So that would be my recommendation on that.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. And maybe I'm biased because like what we do is, I originally was like most career coaches start by offering, oh, I'll do interview prep, I'll do resume writing and all of that. But like what I found is like everything has to be ticking, right? You do need all of it to be working together. And when you have a really good resume and then you're getting interviews, but no one's helping you with the interviews, then all that resume is not really going to help you. And so I am a big fan of not only working, like hiring a career coach. I would suggest, with like for any coach, right, that you hire someone from beginning to end, and someone that's committed to the overall strategy and that can support you every single step of the way, because every single step of the way will encounter its own challenges and issues, and it's not just one step. And so I'm a bigger fan of having it all together, and not just hiring one coach for one coach for one thing, because what happens is there's multiple strategies, and everything depends on your situation. And when you have you're listening to way too many different advice, and you execute part of this advice and part of this advice, it's not going to work what is intended to. This person's advice could work and this one could work, but only if you use one at a time, right? And so, yeah, it can get really confusing.
100%, man. Yeah, you're so spot on with that. And there was one point that you mentioned about, everything needs to tick,
Yeah.
right? Like, especially in this market, and you're probably seeing this too. A lot of the job seekers are feeling the pinch and the extra competition, less overall roles
Yeah.
available, and more workforce participation. And so, in this type of market, but generally speaking, as a job seeker, you can't afford to be mediocre.
Yeah.
You have to be the best possible version of yourself on every level. So I totally agree with on everything ticking and everything being in line with each other.
Muni, as we wrap it up, we'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about what you do. What is jobs and offers? What are the type of career coaching that you offer, and who's like your ideal job seeker? Like, so if I'm listening to you, like someone listening to is looking for a job, how do I know if you might be the right career coach for me, and how can I get a hold of you and your team?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So, in 5 seconds or less, what we do is help professionals define the next best path in their career, and then work with them step by step until they sign their next offer. In terms of the niche, so we're primarily focused on North America, although we do have clients, worldwide. And in terms of specific niches that we focus on, our model is a little bit is quite unique in that sense. So we typically focus only on corporate professionals that are looking in more mid to senior level roles. But in terms of specific types of roles or industries, we don't discriminate on that part for now. And the reason we're able to do that is because we have different coaches on the team that have different niches and strengths, in terms of the types of people that we work with. So when we get job seekers reaching out to us, regardless of which coach they connect with on our team, we internally discuss these clients so that we can understand, okay, who do we best match them up internally, right? So if for example, my business partner Victoria gets somebody that comes in that she feels would be better coached by me, we'll work through that and get that person coached by me, and then vice versa. If I come across somebody that Victoria has a stronger skill set of helping, I pass them over. So we have a really tight team environment. So if anybody's interested in that, LinkedIn is the best way. Like for me, I respond to every single DM that comes into my inbox, every connection request. So if somebody is interested, just search up jobs and offers on LinkedIn. They'll find my profile, my team's profile, reach out to any of us, and just shoot us a DM, and we'll start that conversation.
Perfect. We're gonna go ahead and put Muni, your LinkedIn and also your website here as well, so that people can connect with you. If you're listening to this, if you enjoy this, if you know someone that's hesitant about hiring a career coach or not knowing what to do, please share this as well. And if you're an international STEM student, that's who we focus on. But we're here to help. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this episode of the podcast, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.